Get over here. So good to see you. Good to see you again. Yeah. Congratulations. This is a great milestone. You come to mind when I turn 90, okay? I'll do that. Okay?
Hey, you.
You don't mind if I step behind you and give your wife a hug?
Oh, hi, Bob.
Where's your glasses? Do you need them?
Just need him.
Hey, how are you?
Where did it go? No, I still have my
Our little one, there's River. River, right and then this is Anna. This is Anna.
Little princess.
Oh, you can see it. That's fun.
This is Daniel, my son. Right? Oh, you want Palmer? That's what it all is. I've heard a whole lot of them do well.
You want a high five?
Great boy.
Yeah.
right.
Who wants to shake your hand?
How old are you? 4?
It's almost time. September. Oh, they're big. All right, let's get you in.
Wow, you're a gorgeous looking guy.
Oh, what do you say?
Oh my. Yeah.
Can you switch with Anna for a minute? Keep it next to Ellie.
Good to see you. My goodness.
This is the Hawaiian version. Ready? Way up
There. That's good.
They were too big, so I made them a little one. That has become a family tradition. I've made probably 13 now. And my youngest daughter, Megan, is forcing me to make number 14. So. And then, but anyhow, the story is I made it for Brian. And then this guy over here, when he was 5 years old, asked me for a guitar. I said, sure. And he said, I want an electric. So I had to change my whole scheme of things. But he's a pretty good guitar player, a bass player, and a singer. He studied music. And that's one thing we all got from Grandma Brooks and Grandpa Brooks. They instilled a love of music in us. And we're not that good all the time, but we sure love it.
We're going to be singing How Great Thou Art. Our dad, this is the first hymn that he sung in church, so, and we know Grandpa loves hymns, so.
Best one.
Yes. O Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed.
And sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think that God his Son must perish, sent him to die, I scarce can take it in. That on the cross, my burden gladly carried, he bled and died to take away my sin. And sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I then shouts of acclamation and take me home, what joy shall fill my heart. Then I shall bow in humble adoration and then proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art, how great thou art.
Right, so I think it's my turn. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay. So my name is Brian. I'm the youngest, and I'll skip the joke about being the best looking because that one's getting old. Sorry. I'm often asked, being the youngest, and there's 10 years difference between the rest of them and me. Mom used to call me her bonus boy, buy 3, get 1 free. And
Got you for free.
yeah. I'm often asked why I didn't go into the family business. You probably are aware that both my brothers and my dad are contractors, carpenters, luthiers, woodworking, sculptor gods, whatever you do. I'll give you one brief little story about what it was like. My first day on the job at 13, arriving after a 2.5-hour car ride starting at 4:30 in the morning to Malibu. Oh, by the way, I got the good seat. It was in the back of the truck, like the back of the truck. Getting there at 7 and thinking, oh, this must be the site. There's all those 2x4s there. There's like 400 2x4s in 2 stacks. And getting to the site and then realizing that there's this big driveway we have to walk up. So we're walking up the driveway and I'm thinking, okay, all right, so we're going to the back of this house and there's this big addition in the back. And Rick and Pete put on their bags. They know exactly what to do. They start working and Dad comes over and I said, so what do you want me to do? And he brings me back to the driveway and we look down the driveway about 150 feet down And he said, see those 2x4s? And I said, yes. And he said, I need them all up here by 7:30. And I thought, I gotta find something different. And it was really hard to try and find something that they weren't good at, especially Dad. If you guys know Ralph Brooks, he's pretty much great at everything. So he can do pretty much anything. So one thing he can't do, and Dad, you're 90 now, I think you can admit this, you can't take a picture to save your life. But he always bought really cool gear. So he would always buy like the top notch, like in the late 70s, we had a Canon AE1, he had a Canon AE1 program, and I said, what do all these numbers do? And he gave me one of those typical dad answers. He was like, I'll explain it to you later. I'll explain it to you later. So I actually took a class and learned how, and I thought, if I can learn how to use the camera, maybe Dad will trust me with the camera. And as I recall, he never actually got that camera back. So it kind of launched my career. So I make videos. This is a video that I made, not this one, but the one you're about to see. Kind of a retrospective of Ralph's life, and I hope you enjoy it.
1929 is not a year typically associated with fond memories. With the stock market crash in October, leading to a decade-long economic depression, most people associate that year with hard times and breadlines. But 1929 also had its bright spots. Happy Days Are Here Again was released. The Dodge Victory Hour debuted on radio. The Philadelphia Athletics won the World Series, defeating the Chicago Cubs in 5 games. And for Roland and Eva Brooks of Niagara Falls, Ontario, 1929 was a blessed year that brought the birth of their second child and first son, Ralph John. Ralph's childhood was fairly typical, but not without some difficult spots here and there. At the age of 6, Ralph and both siblings, Helen and Ken, developed scarlet fever after he ate spaghetti at a church picnic. They all made it through the battle, though quarantined in their home for the entire summer of 1935. Ralph was raised in a strict Free Methodist home and not allowed to go to movies or dances. Somehow, though, he managed to sneak out to a movie one time. Filled with the adrenaline of being defiant and sitting in the back row just in case a fire broke out, Ralph still claims that was the best movie he's ever seen. Ralph became an apprentice of sorts under his jack-of-all-trades father, learning about chicken farming and carpentry. He is a 4th-generation carpenter and proudly started swinging a hammer alongside his father at the age of 5. Roland, Ralph, and Ken built several houses in the Niagara Falls area. When he wasn't helping his dad, he was playing baseball with his friends or swimming in the local public pool. Eventually, Roland sold the chicken farm to make way for more houses. There is now a street honoring the Brooks name on the old farm property in Niagara Falls. After the 8th grade, Ralph left school to work with his father full-time at Bentley Sporting Goods, where he honed his woodworking craft, making ping-pong tables, badminton sets, and tennis rackets. He also made a novelty board game called Crokinole, which is still a huge pastime in southern Ontario. Through it all, the Brooks were God-fearing, church-going Christians, and Ralph was blessed with a strong spiritual foundation. At age 19, Ralph attended a church camp where he met Dorothy Peters of Napanee, Ontario. After several trips back and forth to Napanee, they married and settled in Niagara Falls. Their first home was a chicken coop that Ralph and his father converted into a house. It wasn't long after that they realized the chicken coop wouldn't be big enough for their expanding family, as, over the next 14 years, Richard, Karen, Peter, and Brian were all added to the mix. Today, Ralph's legacy includes dozens of grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Ralph has an amazing work ethic and always managed to provide for his family. He had many jobs, including a driver for Coca-Cola, a milkman, a tissue paper manufacturer where he suffered the loss of 2 fingers from his right hand, and foreman at the Niagara Falls Hydroelectric Power Plant. Through it all, Ralph never left construction, and in the mid-60s, Ralph and brother Ken built one of the most beloved attractions in Niagara Falls, the Skylon Tower. They had a little help from some friends. After the Skylon, he went on to build several churches in southern Ontario and upstate New York, and eventually moved west in search of new challenges. In the late 70s, he formed Signal Construction, which specialized in home additions and commercial seismic retrofitting. He's left his mark on some of the most well-known areas in the Southland. In 1993, Ralph met an artist and teacher at a square dancing social. 2 creative souls, Ralph and Lillian, were married in spring of 1994. They spent many years traveling with trips to China, England, and a Mississippi cruise with some of Ralph's grandkids. In 2002, Ralph's love for travel led him down a new path, his first short-term mission. Together with his brother Ken, they worked side by side one more time, building cabinets and wardrobes for students in Guatemala. 2 years later, he went to Africa, where he assisted in the construction of a hospital. Ralph also added the title of inventor to his resume, creating a new type of hideaway bed, now being marketed to hospitals and hotels. Anyone who knows Ralph is aware of his great love for music. When he's not whistling a tune, he's humming or singing the lyrics to a song, at least the parts he remembers. Ralph has always had a booming bass voice and has sung in many groups throughout his life. Probably his fondest memories of singing were with the gospel quartet he formed with his friends from Downey First Baptist, the King's Heirs. In 2010, Ralph found himself a widower. After choir practice at church one Wednesday night, he invited a lovely lady to coffee, and Ralph and Olivia have been inseparable for almost a decade. Their love for each other is only outdone by their love for God, and together they take life one day at a time. Olivia has been alongside Ralph through some of the most challenging health issues of his life, and through it all, she provides strength, comfort, and a physical affirmation of a love that can only come from the Holy Spirit. Ralph and Olivia have cultivated a warm and nurturing home and have adopted each other's families as if they were their own.
Brother, let me tell you how I feel. Tell you about a feeling that is real. Brother, let me tell you how the glory rolls. Tell you how it bubbles in my happy soul. Happiness is free, it's never bought a soul. Let me tell you how I feel, let me tell you.
There's a happy rhythm keeps a rockin' and a rollin'. I can feel it moving when I'm singing this song. What a joy to feel it moving on and never stopping. Deep within my heart it keeps a rollin' and a rockin', rollin' and a rockin' and a rockin' and a rollin'. It's a happy rhythm in my soul, in my soul. There's music ringing deep within my soul. I can feel it bubble, I can feel it roll. When I get the feeling that I wanna shout, makes me feel so good I gotta move about. Brother, there can never be a single doubt. Let me tell you how I feel, happy rhythm. There's a happy rhythm keeps a rockin' and a rollin'. I can feel it moving when I'm singing this song. What a joy to feel it moving on and never stopping. Deep within my heart it keeps a rollin' and a rockin', rollin' and a rockin' and a rockin' and a rollin'. It's a happy rhythm in my soul, in my soul.
ears are ringing deep within my soul. I can feel it bubble, I can feel it roll. Then I get the feeling that I wanna shout. It makes me feel so good, I gotta move about. Brother, there can never be a single doubt. Let me tell you how I feel. Happy rhythm. There's a happy rhythm keeps a rocking and a rolling. I can feel it moving when I'm singing this song. What a joy to feel it moving on and never stopping. Deep within my heart it keeps it rolling and a rocking, rolling and a rocking and a rocking and a rolling. It's a happy rhythm in my soul, in my soul.
I'm the middle son, and as Brian said it, he didn't proclaim to be the handsome one. I am, but my big brother always.
Are any of the mics on?
My dad was a major, bigger than life kind of person when I was a kid. Went through high school, college, a couple of years of college, and then I dropped out and got my pre-induction notice. And I brought the billet book home from the recruiter, and I said, I want to go in the Navy because I don't want to go in the Army. And I said, I don't know what to go into. My buddy was going into the Airedale Squadron to be a machinist mate, aviation machinist mate. I said, I want to be a aviation structural mechanic. And he goes, what? And he goes, why don't you get something that you're familiar with? And he says, start reading some of them rates. And I started reading them. I went through R1 division, R2, and I went back to R1 division. Carpenter, ship fitter, sheet metal worker, welder, pipe fitter, carpenter, pattern maker. Pattern maker! Right there. That's what my dad did. He says, I'm going to introduce you to a pattern maker right after church. And I said, huh? I didn't even know what a pattern maker was. And right after church, he took me over to Pastor Wood's house. And Pastor Wood went in the other room, brought out a pattern. And I said, yeah, that's what I want to do. Automatic. I didn't even know what it was. But he just put me in the right direction that made my life what it is. So, big influence. Big influence. Ready? Do I need to talk?
Thank you. You good, right? It'll take me a second. I've got it backed up on the DVD player, so that'd be great. My apologies. Oh, there. Why not? One of my fondest memories was, is this on? Oh,
It's on, but it just needs to be out because I heard him tap it.
It is. There, okay. One of my fondest memories when I was a kid was in the 60s growing up, and like everyone said, Dad, to sing. My first introduction to him singing was in the men's chorale in Buffalo. Was it Buffalo or someplace? Rochester. And he sang, we had a record with 2,500 men at a convention, and they sang Holy City. One of the most moving pieces of music that was ever written. And the other thing that he was always interested in was barbershop and Southern gospel. And he's done all of that. If he's done nothing else, he's lived his dream in that respect. But he used to drag us to Massey Hall
in Toronto and go to the all-night sings with the Blackwood Brothers, the Stamps and the Fevers, all the big names in Southern gospel music. And I can remember it was about a 2-hour drive, so at the end of this, which would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, my brother and I would be sleeping in the wheel wells in the back behind the seat. It was just a lot of fun. But I learned this song from my mother when I was a kid, and I like to sing it for Dad. It's called I Don't Know Who Holds Tomorrow. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. I don't borrow from sunshine, for its sky may turn to gray. I don't worry over the future, for I know what Jesus said, that today I'll walk beside him, for he knows what lies ahead. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. I don't know about tomorrow. It may bring me poverty, but the one who feeds the sparrow is the one who stands by me. And the path be my portion, made it through the flame of love, where his presence goes before me. And I'm sheltered with his blood. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand.
Way to go, Dad.
Thank you. You know, I got a great story about Megan. When she was, I don't know, about 18 or 19, right before he went to college, she used to go to the gym with my wife. And they convinced me to start going to the gym. And I walked in the first night, and Megan is down working out with her trainer down at the other end and a few other guys. And screams a lot of her, "Hey, Dad, we're over!" Oh,
I think you're bringing me my inhaler.
I think so. It just she's always been one to be a free spirit.
Yes.
Just like her mom. Maybe wants to say something.
Yeah, I got a story about David.
The fees?
Yeah. He knows what I'm going to say. Hi, I am Debbie, and I am married to Richard, who is the most good-looking. But anyways, Rick and I are celebrating our 47th anniversary this year. But the reason I say that is because when I met Ralph, we were back at Roberts Wesleyan College, back in North Chi-Li, New York. And I had met Rick and I was 17, and he was pretty cool. He was a guitarist, you know, with the long hair. And we were dating, and we started to get more serious. And Rick said, you know, I think I should take you home to meet my mother and my father. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And his mom had really wanted me to come over so that we could meet. And so one Sunday afternoon, we went to Ralph and Dorothy's house, and we had a great time, right, Rick? Just chit-chatting, getting to know each other. I was a little apprehensive. Ralph was a little stern looking at me. Wasn't too sure what was going on. So we all sat down for dinner, and we began to eat. And Dorothy had made some vegetables that I didn't really want to partake of. I wasn't a big vegetable eater. And so I'm eating everything but the vegetables. Ralph is sitting right here to me, and he puts his silverware down. Do you remember this, Ralph? He puts his silverware down. He leans over to me, and he says, "You will eat those vegetables." Just like that's serious. I'm not. No, that's legit. That's exactly what you said to me. You will. And I said, okay. And I ate the vegetables. So that was it. That's my big funny story.
Laura's gone now, but I was sitting over here earlier, and I was like, Laura's gonna make me cry today. And then she came over and she was crying already. So that made me cry. So I think I got it out. So, yeah, my mom, I feel like I should be up here and speak for Mom today. Just wanted to share some of the things that Grandpa's done for me in my life. I remember him strongly because he gave me $5 one time when I was like 8. It was the first time anybody gave me that much money. It was $5 was quite a lot to me. So that was one of my not my first memories, but one of my fondest for sure. Grandpa always supported me in every decision that I ever made. And he had people around him that did the same. And when I wanted to draw or do art, he gave me a pen and paper. When I wanted to be an architect, he gave me a drafting table. And he was always, I wanted to tow around a wood burning oven and make pizza. He built me, or attempted to build me a wood burning oven in his garage that I was supposed to finish, that I never finished. But he always supported me, and he always wanted me to follow his dreams. And he admired that in me, and that's something that he really wanted to do too. So I feel like he was always there for me.
How we doing? Ooh. Well, I gotta tell you that you sure did surprise me. I knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't realize that all you good people showed up for me. My birthday, my 90th birthday. I remember my 80th birthday when a lot of you guys back there were at my 80th, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if the good Lord is going to let me find out what it's like to be 90. Well, He's done that. And I've had a great 10 years from the 80th to the 90th. And I have to give this young lady, this beautiful lady, some of the greatest joys and some of the times that she pulled me through when I thought I wasn't going to make it. Well, we have a great marriage. She argues better than I do. But no, that's not really that. We have devotions every day. Right now we're reading through the Bible in here. And it'll be, she'll say, well, we gotta do the Bible today, or I'll say, we need to do the Bible. And we're having the greatest time because I've read the Bible, I don't know how many times, but I'm finding so many things in there that I forgot that was even in there. Well, I believe everything in that Bible is God's Word. And I am here to tell you that serving the Lord is to me my greatest time. I've been where I haven't served the Lord, and I've been doing things that I knew that I needed to be with the Lord. Well, I have to go back a little further than that, because I had a dad and I had a mom that were the truest believers, along with a lot of good friends that I had back when I was a young kid, a young teenager, a 20-year-old, and so forth. But I used to roller skate to do all those things, go dancing, and my dad was not in agreement with what I was doing frequently. But I would come home in whatever time, and I'd find my dad on his knees praying for his children, for his grandchildren, for his great-grandchildren. And I can look around and I can see my third generation of what had passed from me that are living for the Lord. And I gotta tell you, it just is the greatest feeling that I can go back to see my dad praying for those kids that he would never even meet, but he was there for them. So I'm just so thankful that I had parents that I can tell you that was so great. Didn't have a lot of money. Depression years were things that I went through with my dad, my mom. Oh boy, the times that I can remember my dad just trying to make a living, story after story. We don't have time for that today, but I again want to thank you for showing up for my day of rejoicing. Thank you again and again and again for you. enjoy you being in my family and you being in my family and the guy sitting beside you, the retired officer of. You guys gotta know that he is one that the United States used to look up to. Yes, and his little wife, oh my, and the grandsons, oh man, I just so appreciate having these two here. Yeah. Would you guys stand up for my family to know who you are? I mean, yes, the other one. Where's the, there he is. I am so proud of you guys. So proud that I can call you. Oh, they know who they are. So you can sit down. God has been so good to me. I mean, I just can't tell you how thankful I am today here. Did you want to?
I think I speak on behalf of the Olivia side of the family, my mom, Olivia. Just thank you for welcoming us to your family, and we've always just felt a lot of love from Ralph and for Ralph. He's a great man. He's made my mom very happy. So we thank you. And I thought it'd be a good idea because, you know, we're not here all the time, but I know, I kind of get I do know, like, you know, Ralph, your children, and more or less, but it would be kind of, I think it's small enough here that we could probably just quickly introduce. I don't know if it's too big or, but that way we all know who everybody is, because would that be good? Right?